one day your story of how you've overcome what you're going through now will become a part of someone else's survival guide. And so I write in the preface of the book that there are many guides that expectant and new mothers, even experienced mothers, read, but they aren't survival guides for the mama's heart.
Best-selling author series talking about bringing entrepreneurship to publishing. And we're going to have an amazing special guest today. So welcome, 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 everyone. If you are watching on YouTube, Spotify, Apple, Facebook, Instagram, all the places, we are sending you love. Those of you here in the Zoom room in our live audience, we're so thrilled that you're here. And we are going to have the beautiful, brilliant, heart-centered, amazing author of this incredible book, Swaddled. Sarah Cassidy is here with us today, and we're so excited to have this time to hear about Sarah's new book, why she wrote it, what the journey was like, and all the things we love talking about here in the show. So we're getting ready to have an amazing week. Who's ready to have an incredible week? Those of you here with us live. We are always excited to get to come together and get our vibration high, get our motivation up, become clear, focused, ready to serve, to contribute, to change the world this week. So it is perfect that we are kicking off with an absolutely amazing thought leader. And you're going to meet Sarah here in just a moment. We're going to bring Sarah up. I'm just got all the tech. We got to do all the tech here, and then we will. There we go. Hi, Sarah. Welcome. So happy that you're here today. If you want to unmute and say hello to everyone, we're thrilled to have you.
Yes, good morning. Hi, Sarah, and hi to the group. What a day. What an honor. Thank you for having me, Sarah.
Well, we're so excited because anyone who's done a book understands that it is a journey. It is a journey that takes us both strategically, intellectually, emotionally, spiritually, in many cases, to so many different places. There's the writing of the book, there's editing of the book, there's the publishing journey of the book, there's the sharing and promoting the book. And Sarah, you've made it. You have this gorgeous book, Swaddled: Sage Stories to Wrap Mothers in Love. Here, it's real. We can hold it in our hands. We can hug it. We can kiss it. So first of all, huge congratulations on reaching this moment. How does it feel to know it's in the world now?
Thank you, Sarah. I will say that today and this very moment feels like a full circle moment in so many ways. My heart is fluttering, and it's not about nerves. It is about appreciation, celebration, and just joy for the completion. And I will say, I learned more than I ever thought I would on that journey. And I journaled the whole way through, right? In terms of just assimilating all of the feels, all of the nuggets of knowledge, all of the divine downloads that brought me here. So when you hold it and when I see someone else holding it, it feels full circle with you personally.
Mm-hmm.
And it feels surreal and just like a gift. Because as you know, this was it was initially, I want to be careful with the way I phrase this. It was initially a lifetime bucket list item for me, but it has become and it has bloomed to be so much more. And when I say it was originally about the book, right?
Yeah.
And some of you, many of you on today have helped me to expand that vision. So That's how it feels.
It's how it feels, Sarah. Well, again, it's a big deal. It's a big deal to get to this place. Remember, we always talk about 200 million people, according to the New York Times, say, I want to do a book. But saying it over a cocktail at some, bar somewhere is so different than actually going the distance, which you've done with this beautiful book. So let's go ahead and talk about what the book's about, why you wanted to write it, really the mission. And then I do want to ask you about what it has grown into, because you came into this a bucket list, right? Many people say, I want to do a book, right? Is something you knew you wanted to share with the world. And then we'll talk about where that journey took you, because it's been such an honor to get to be with you on this journey. It's an incredible privilege, not only to get to be, a coach and mentor of Swaddle, but also a contributor, right? Because I got, some of you haven't read the book yet, and we'll share the link, of course, so you can get this gorgeous book. It's something now I'm going to buy for people. I told Sarah, it's like, the minute this book is ready, this becomes my new baby shower gift. Like when anyone is, instead of getting, a blanket or a stuffed animal or little booties, which are all fun, it's like, this is going to give people something so different that they might not even know they need as we go into it. And those of you that know my story, had a very untraditional experience of bringing my son into the world with my mother as our surrogate. And so you're telling a diversity of ways that families get formed and what the beginning of life. So take us back to the initial, like, what's the book about and what is your intention in writing it?
Yes, I will do just that. I first just want to call out and thank you for the distinction around baby gifts, right? Because I think therein lies a lot of the crux around my why. You're buying a baby gift for the baby. How can we gift? How can we swaddle the mother? So you teed it up perfectly, not surprisingly. You talk often about how stories can and do save lives. You wrote your story, multiple of your stories to do just that. And so when I see the cute quote that can be attributed to many people around the fact that one day your story of how you've overcome what you're going through now will become a part of someone else's survival guide. And so I write in the preface of the book that there are many guides that expectant and new mothers, even experienced mothers, read, but they aren't survival guides for the mama's heart, right? And so to answer your question most directly, when I became a mother, and that's many years ago now, to say the very least, it rocked me to my core. Overnight, I lost myself as I knew her. And I acquired a brand new, highly demanding customer who I really was not exactly sure what to do with, right? I wasn't sure how to serve my baby with the same standards and in the same spotlight of success that I was accustomed to. And so the headline is sort of, even as a type A plus person, right? Always very prepared. Somehow I was still surprised by my new reality. The experience was not adding up. It was not what I had expected it to be. And yes, of course, I was overwhelmed with a love like none I had ever experienced, right? Even so, at the same time, both things can be true. I was in love, deeply in love. I was joyous, but I was also scared out of my mind most hours of the day and night. I was scared that I was failing my baby, that I wasn't doing it right, that I would break him literally or figuratively. And I could find very little relief for my exposed nerves. And so I'll wrap this up by saying that we're often sold an image of blissful perfection in new motherhood. And while magic moments do indeed exist, the real story is often more complex. And so my goal is to open and excel the conversation around the fact that motherhood is both beautiful and hard. And I want to bring a whole chorus of voices to that.
I felt my emotions, right? Even just taking me back to that first, few months and years, like you said, were sort of sold like the Disney version, and then it could be all kinds of things. I had postpartum euphoria because it had taken 7 years and I lost children, previously. So when my son who made it, right, we call like Harry Potter, the boy who lived, that was our joke. Like, this is the boy that's going to live. After losing our twins. And so, this was, I had postpartum euphoria from the standpoint of, oh my God, this baby's alive. I get to be a mom after all this time. And what I didn't expect, right? People have so many experiences. Some people don't feel bonded. Some people, and there's the whole gamut, which is what you get into. Some of you are saying, what's the title? It's Swaddled: Sage Stories to Wrap Mothers in Love. This is Sarah's beautiful book that's out now. And so I think what was unexpected was the, I don't know what I want to use the word, Sarah. You and I've talked about this when I was had the honor of contributing to this book, but like sort of the way that there's all this judgment between mothers. So I went to a new mothers group because I wanted to make friends with people that had babies, because, like, you want to have a support group, especially at that time. Like, who else wants to go eat kids, watch kids eating, bark off the ground, at the park for 3 hours, and then I was shunned from the group because I wasn't breastfeeding. Well, I didn't have a traditional pregnancy and I was only able to breastfeed temporarily. And so, I mean, but that's the kind of, it's like, really, like, that is the kind of, people can have, and people have all kinds of experiences, right? Oh, you should have had a home birth, or I mean, there's so much stuff around how people do this thing that's like, I experienced firsthand was a life and death situation, my own and children's, right? So this is not something I was like, la, 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 and like, there's a baby. It was like, I almost died. The children died. I went through hell getting to that point. And then to realize, oh, like, I'm in euphoria, but other people have different, rules, and finding your people around the way you're doing it. So, Sarah, I think this is an important conversation that it doesn't always get to be had. I just kind of went home and cried in my car, and was like, oh, I guess I don't get to have a mom's group because that's what this one that's near my house is. And that's okay. Obviously, I made other friends and it's like, it's all fine. But Sarah, what have you found in speaking with not only the women you've interviewed, but just now with like early readers, and like what's coming up in the conversations you're hearing?
That all of what you have said is typical. It's common. But for those of us who tend to identify and own a certain imposter syndrome tendency, it's hard to showcase that. And so I'm hearing that people are resonating with the 12 stories within. And so while I knew that I couldn't bite off the entire motherhood population, I did my best in a digestible format, right? Because new moms can't read, the
War and
volume.
Peace.
Yes. So I did my best to throw the net wide, if you will, in terms of hitting on some of the core challenges in becoming a mother, in exposing the fact that we are all in this together. We are all one regardless of how we become a mother. There are a couple of adoption stories, your surrogacy story, everything from difficulty feeding your child to what becoming a parent does to one's relationship with your partner. I tried to paint the picture broadly. And so the three core messages, coming back to your comment about comparison, there are three distinct messages that I hope readers will take away. One, that you are not alone. And so for me, it was a new mother's group who saved me, but I needed to be literally kicked out of the house to get to that forum. So you are not alone. You are the perfect mother to your baby. And then in parentheses, regardless of how everyone else does it, right? So that's the comparison bit. And thirdly, your life will come back to you, albeit bigger and better. But Sarah, if someone had literally said those words to me, your life will come back to you, I could have avoided some really dark days. And I was not diagnosed with postpartum depression. I simply struggled with the loss of self, not knowing how to do the new job. And as an overachiever, that was wholly uncomfortable. And so to come back to your question about what I'm hearing from new readers, I'm hearing relief in knowing that they're not alone. I'm hearing that they have laughed and cried reading these stories. And that was my hope. I mean, there's some heavy stuff there, but I also wanted this to be a fun reading experience. And so I did try to sprinkle in the laughs, because if we can't laugh at and with ourselves, then what do we have?
Well, and some of the women here in the live audience with us are talking about, and thank you, people are talking about some people experience true postpartum, like really serious, and there was no support, at a certain time. It wasn't even being discussed, right? Some people were feeling that same like joy of the new and absolute, devastation of losing, the life you had, because every birth is a rebirth, right? The birth of the children is a rebirth of everyone's identity that's involved in raising that child. And there could be, one or many people involved in that. So it's such a rich and having fun and laughing about it. Like I said, I had postpartum euphoria and had these like, ow, punches to the gut that I didn't expect, right, in different ways. And probably a lot of that was an internal mirror as I reflected and contributing to this, Sarah, of my own feeling of being inadequate. The fact that, I did have, the child. So, again, like that I attracted a group, right? It's not lost on me, since I'm a brain science girl, that I attracted a group that was like, you're not good enough, and like, I'm owning it. I can see it, right? And I love, your message of you're the perfect mother for your child. Like I do, and this goes on. It doesn't end in the first year. I know you're focusing on the new motherhood, but these themes in the book are so important on and on and on, because I now have, and you do too, teenagers or a teenager. And it's like, that's a whole nother kind of era of places going, am I doing a good job? Am I, am I modeling the things that I want? Am I being too involved? Am I giving enough space? Am I ignoring? It's just a constant, like it doesn't end, right? And I've heard this from my friends who have young adult children and adult children. It's like, yeah, it doesn't end there either, because even if they're quote unquote launched, there's still the what they need, and are you okay? So I'm sure everyone listening and watching has, we're on the spectrum. If you've been involved in a child's life, whether you've been a primary parent, an aunt, an uncle, a friend, a cousin, whatever, you're part of it. So Sarah, let's talk about this expansion. There was a bucket list desire to write the book, and you have done it. You are now a published author, and of a beautiful, powerful, valuable, important book. Done, right? You could just call it a day, right?
Yep.
What's unfolded because you mentioned earlier that you didn't expect. You thought it was just about the book, and that's not a just, that's a big effing deal. So now what's happening as you became the person you got to be to write this book and bring it into the world?
Yeah. Again, it's full circle in the sense that on the back half of the writing, I fostered some relationships, many to the end that you just hit on. There is a term that I was not familiar with. It's called matrescence. And it is actually in the title of the closing of my book
Mm.
called Matrescence and Me. And matrescence is the scientific term. We all know adolescence, right?
Mm.
But many of us don't know matrescence, which is the evolution of a mother. Because as
Mm.
you so aptly described, as the baby is born, so too is born the mother. And so, since the time that I could sort of put my finger on the publication date, conversations and people, channels have been showing themselves to me in terms of how I can best get this book in the hands of those who need it, right? So, channels including clinical professionals, psychologists, OB-GYNs, doulas,
Yeah.
um, even franchised organizations who are now supporting new mothers.
Mm.
I wish I had that. I mean, I see these virtual forums now and even the social media descriptions, and I still get a little ping of jealousy. Oh, what if I had had that, right? And so I don't want to, and I refuse to let the book sit in a box. And
Mhm.
so now that the work of dotting the I's and crossing the T's and making sure everything feels good to my uh, little bit of OCD self. Now the fun, right, of having it in the local bookstores and in the libraries. That's an important, ability to touch for me. I
Mhm.
want it available beyond Amazon and the online retailers. And so that's what's been fun, and I know will continue to be fun. My master to-do list now is so long, it doesn't get shorter by the week, it gets longer, and that's a luxury.
Mm, I love this. So it's getting it into, and this is such an important, those of you in the Monetize Your Book Club know, we're talking about partnerships often. We're talking about sponsorships. So Sarah,
Yeah.
making it an intention. You're not just gonna hope people find the book on Amazon and call it a day. You are actively letting people who are, whether they're therapists, doulas, midwives, practitioners, OBGYNs, the people that are with the new moms, the expectant moms, the new moms that are able to then say, hey, I have something. I have something I
Yeah.
think that'll be really supportive for you. So important because that's back to it's not just a book, it's a movement, right? And that's what we, teach here and believe here and because it's true. If we let it be. And that's the choice every author gets to make and the choice you're making, right? You're making the choice to ensure that it is a movement, that it reaches the people. This is where it's so tempting to feel like after do the Herculean task of bringing a book into the world, we almost kind of go, okay, good, I'm done. Whoo! Like, and we realize, oh, that was base camp. And now
Yeah.
we're actually summiting, which is
Yeah.
making the impact with the book that the big magic, the divine, the universe, God, whatever we think of as brought us, the Greeks would say the muse, right?
Yeah.
Would bring us as our, like the one that said, hey, will you write me? Will you? It's not just will you write me? It's like, will you will you bring this message to the world, the Shiro's journey that you're on, Sarah? And so I'm excited that it has expanded. I'm thrilled selfishly for all your readers. And like you, it's like, oh, if I'd had your book back when, my son was born. And it's just gorgeous. And partnering with those online forums and groups, saying, hey, I've got something that I'd love to be a resource for your, 6,000 Facebook people in this new moms, community. So, Sarah, it's fab. And seeing it in the bookstore, how's that been? I just, I always find that as a writer, it's otherworldly.
Totally, totally. I mean, I have to look twice, and I plan to go on a fun little tour and take pictures and in each place. And so one thing that you just said stuck out in terms of being at base camp, right? Thank goodness the work is different, because we do have capacities. And so when it's time to shift the work, that's amazing. And I will say I will be at group coaching this week, because I need and look forward to and will appreciate help in some of that outreach, because there are I'm careful not to say right ways, but there are effective and efficient ways to make different varieties of outreach. And as I purposefully stepped over the use of the word right, I will also say that one of my key learnings in all of this, and it goes back to being a mother, is that there is no right way to do it. You may disagree, which I would totally respect.
I
However,
agree. I
I
agree.
will say that I have felt similar pressures. And in fact, I wrote a blog post about the parallels of birthing a book and having or expecting a child, in terms of everyone has their not only opinions, but paradigms, right? And pedagogy around how something can happen well. And circumstances also happen way beyond theory. And so we pivot. And so that's been a big part of my own personal growth, is self-permission to do things the way I can.
Amazing.
And they
Because the
can still
truth is,
work.
they can all work. Every
Yeah.
type of marketing, launching, promoting, people say, what's the right book funnel? It's what's right for you. So I am celebrating, in addition to the fabulous success of this book and all that's going to come. And I'm very excited for our coaching this week, because that's exactly what we get to do, is look at the most effective, strategic, and empowering ways for you to create these partnerships, right? That's the next step, and to get the book into the hands of not a few people, but thousands of, people that need it. And so, and that you have your own agency, right? To me, I'm just hearing the idea, whether it's in raising the book or raising the book, yeah, raising the
Yeah.
child,
So
raising
many
the book.
analogies.
It is. I'm already there. I flipped in my head already, because you're right. Everyone has opinions. This is the best way. Do you do the cry it out method with your book? No, the cry it out method. So, Sarah, we are so grateful in the midst of this very exciting launch season that you're having, that you made time to come and share this book with us. We will put this in the show notes. Everyone can get your copy, whether it's for you or someone in your life that's lucky enough to be having their child now and can receive. But even if, from a nostalgic standpoint, I recommend, if this is a topic that interests you, even if this isn't the season you're in, it may bring healing and comfort and transformation to revisit that time and get to sort of transform your young mother self. And so it's really for all of us. And would you say it's matriance, right, instead of adult
Matrescence.
matrescence? That is a
Yeah.
new one. I freaking love learning a
Yeah.
new word. We're learning new matrescence. So if you're anywhere in your matrescence or
Yeah.
aunt essence or friend essence,
Yes.
or any way that you're involved with children in your life, this is really beautiful. So, Sarah, thank you so much for making
Thank
the time.
you.
And I'd love to hear from those of you in the live audience. Some of you have already shared, What are you taking away from today? Whether it's about Sarah's journey on, like, I finished the book and now I get to go really make it a movement. Is it about something about, yes, it's a great gift for new mothers. Exactly, Stephanie. This is my new, I told Sarah Cassidy, I said, when this is out, I know what I'm getting everybody. I'm just going to get my box. And every time someone's like, I'm having a baby, this is what they're getting as their gift from me. So thank you so much, Sarah, for doing this work, for being a thought leader on a topic that, yes, remembering the mom instead of giving the baby all the goodies, which is important too, but let's swaddle the mothers. So thank you, Sarah.
Thank you. Thank you for your support along the way and for getting me here. It was everything. Going back to New Orleans and hearkening back from there to 2020. So to anyone here or anyone listening who is wondering how their journey is going to continue or why their journey has been the length that it is, my message is keep going, because things happen along the way that allow it to conclude exactly the way it's supposed to. So thank you.
So great, Sarah. Thank you so much. And thanks for being here, everybody. Ooh, I feel my heart is full. My heart is full. Thank you for filling our hearts. And everybody, let's go have an amazing week where we lead from heart, we lead from mission. Remember, if you're working on a book, it's not just a book, it's a movement. And if you don't have your ticket already to Women Starting Movements in New York City, remember that is coming up October 7th through 9th. We have, I think, 15 spots left for that event. So make sure that you get yours, team. If you could share that link for everybody if you need it. And if you obviously are not already in the Monetize Your Book Club and want to work on your book and do what Sarah's doing now, the part about creating the movement and creating the partnerships, the sponsors. Yes, we're very, very excited to be with all of you soon. So much love, and we will see everyone next time on the show. I am beyond honored that you choose to spend your precious time here. And I'm guessing that, like me, you believe everyone deserves to rise. So to keep this content absolutely free to absolutely everyone, I'd be so grateful if you'd subscribe to the show and share this episode with a friend. We'll be the rising tide that raises all ships. Thank you, thank you, thank you.